Hello, shooters. My name is James Towle, and welcome back to the American Trigger Sports Network TV show, where we bring you in-depth coverage of shooting events in your favorite trigger sport from around the country. On today's show, we'll take you to the three-gun Winter Classic held at the Five Dog Range in Bakersfield, California. And we'll talk to the winner and our special guest, Taran Butler. Later in the show, I'll ask Taran about his experience at the Pan American Shotgun Championship. And maybe we can get Taran to give us a few tips on competitive shooting. Plus, you'll get a close-up look at the guns Taran uses for the three-gun competition. The Winter Classic in Bakersfield began 15 years ago, and at that time, the Five Dog Range was the only range where you could shoot pistol, rifle, and shotgun in a single event. Today, the Winter Classic represents the first three-gun match after a long winter break, and it brings shooters from both Nevada and Arizona, where they come together to begin their season and training, and it's also where Taran Butler participated in his first three-gun event. And if you're like me, you want to know, hey, how did that Five Dog Range get its familiar name?
Five Dogs Range in Bakersfield, California got its name in the early settlers' days. Hundreds of years ago, it wasn't a dry creek bed, and the only way you could cross the creek was at a tree up the mountains. There was a sheep herder that was being bothered by coyotes chasing his flock, so he shot 5 of them one night and hung them in the tree. The settlers in the area began to talk about crossing at the Five Dogs, and that became Five Dogs Creek, where we got our name.
Let's go now to the three-gun Winter Classic, where we'll hear from the shooters.
Greetings, Mike Pellissier here.
Hi, my name's Nathan Heinrichs. I'm from Clovis, California.
Hi, I'm Jack Boyd. I'm from Los Angeles.
My name is Jojo Vidanes. I'm from Norco, Southern California.
Hello, I'm Sterling White. I'm here at the Five Dogs Range.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey Yerger. I'm a competitor from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hi, my name is Mara Wanderer. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada.
I'm Wade Shimoda. I've been shooting action pistol and three-gun shooting for about 10 years now.
Let me talk to you today a little bit about Scope Tactical Division and shotgun reloading. Shooters in the Scope Tactical Division carry all of their extra rounds on their waist, such as this here. Myself personally, when I load the shotgun, I reach down with my left hand while holding the shotgun in my right hand, and I grab 4 rounds. I bring it up, and I index 4 rounds into the shotgun, and that's my reload.
Three-gun match is where it's at. We shoot rifle, pistol, shotgun. I'm shooting an AR-15. I'm shooting a 38 Super pistol and a 12-gauge shotgun. And in three-gun, some stages you shoot all 3 guns. Sometimes you only shoot 1 gun. But it's the funnest of all the matches. I'm a master class shooter. I love shooting this thing. It's very exciting. It's challenging, and as you can hear in the background, we're shooting right now.
My name is Taran Butler. I'm at my 15th Winter Classic at the Five Dogs Range here in Bakersfield.
Taran Butler holds the three-gun national championship title and many Grand Master titles in pistol, as well as other shooting disciplines. Taran is one of the pioneers in the extreme multi-gun sport, one of the fastest growing trigger sports in the country. And when we come back, I'll talk to Taran from his office in Simi Valley, California.
My name is Taran Butler. I'm at my 15th Five Dogs three-gun Winter Classic Championship here in Bakersfield. This is the first three-gun match I ever shot, was in this range, and I've been shooting them ever since. And they put on an incredible match, difficult stages, shots out to 400 yards, and really wild, fun stuff. If you guys are in California or anywhere near here, you got to shoot the Five Dogs Winter Classic out here. It's an awesome three-gun match. They've got a fantastic facility, and it's definitely worth coming out to.
Okay, hey, listen, I want to start by congratulating you on that wonderful job that you did out there at the Five Dog Range and at the Winter Classic. What a great shoot.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, they put on a fantastic three-gun match out there. It's actually the range where I shot my very first ever three-gun match back in the 90s, and I love it. I'll never miss that match if I can help it.
Oh, okay. All right, then you shoot out there often?
Not super often, probably 3 times a year or so. They put on the Winter Classic and like the Summer Classic and stuff like that. They used to have a monthly three-gun, but I don't think they do it anymore, but it's a awesome range. They got the ability to put on anything. They know how to put on a good 3-gun match.
Yeah, and I think, didn't they try the Winter Classic there last year, and they did have a weather problem?
Actually, this time I had to drive a million miles out of the way to get there. I got a flat tire, then another flat tire, and just about ready to say, forget it, I'm not going. But God got me there somehow and was able to pull off the win, so I was pretty happy when the day was over.
Okay, very good. What was your best station out there?
The very last one I shot, it was dark out, and it was shotgun and then rifle, hosing at the end, and that's probably my favorite one.
Okay, all right. And how many targets were on that station?
Just an arsenal of people everywhere. There's a lot of targets. There was like 8 shotgun from each position, and then rifle, I had a 45-round mag, and I shot almost all of it, but like 4 or so. So it was a lot of rounds. I can't remember.
Okay, all right. Now, I've kind of been on both sides of this, setting up a range as well as shooting the range, and I know you have too. It's very difficult to actually set up a range for someone who's an average shooter like myself and someone who's an expert shooter like yourself. So how's that balance come about in 3-gun?
It's, that balance at this match, there was one shotgun stage that was overwhelming for probably anybody on the planet. It was a big monster one with one of these MGM flipper targets, and that stage kind of destroyed everyone. So they really weren't looking out for the new shooter on that one, but the majority of them were doable, but they were fairly complicated stages. They're putting a lot into each one, and they're not really worrying about, the guy that's new there and how he turns out.
So they were really setting this station up then for maybe not expert, but certainly very good and above.
A lot of it was. There were some that were fairly straightforward, but there were a lot that were pretty tough. There's a wobbly bridge stage, a lot of different targets, the possibility of accidentally shooting a slug at a steel because you get mixed up. So you really got to, be prepared and smooth and make sure you don't make any mistakes like that. But there was a few there that were pretty monstrous and pretty tough that, one little mistake and you're lost on the stage.
Yeah. Well, in 3-gun, and I really enjoy 3-gun myself. Not very good at it, but I do enjoy it. In 3-gun, what's your background in 3-gun for those of us who may not know?
Well, way back in, I think, like 96, 97, a friend of mine just said, you got to do 3-gun. I was doing pistol for 3 or 4 years, and I was a grandmaster, and I was really good. But I got a little bored with it, and he's like, you got to try it. You're going to love it. And he grabbed me by the back of the neck, threw a bunch of crazy guns in my hands, and I went to 5 dogs for the Winter Classic, I think in 1997, somewhere in that ballpark, or 96, and I just was awful with the shotgun. I was just loading terrible, dropping rounds. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, what shot to use. Everybody's telling me to use loads that were so powerful they'd blow the whole target off the stand, and none of the guns worked. But in the end, I did really great on the pistol and shot the rifle like it was a big, fast handgun, and I was able to win my first 3-gun match ever, and I was hooked. The second that happened, I was like, I'll figure this stuff out. I'll figure out this shotgun nonsense, and that was the beginning of it.
Okay, all right. And you were using, pistol-wise then, you were using the Glock 21?
When I very first started, I started with a Glock 21. That's a short, fat little Glock, and I loved it. But then about a few months later, I got a Glock 24, which is this one here. It's a 6-inch Glock. And in 40 caliber, back in the good old days, it held like 18 rounds, and over the Glock 21 held about 15 rounds. So the longer sight radius and the higher capacity, I really loved the gun. I was able to get a Grandmaster card in around a year with it. And I was hooked. So I shot a Glock for a long time. I was kind of the Glock guy in the good old days. And then finally switched over to a 1911. And the one I use now is this one, which is the Infinity 1911. It's a 25-round 9mm or a 22-round 40 caliber. They shoot really soft. They're like the Rolls Royce. They're like the Ferrari, Lamborghini of handguns. They just,
okay, hold that thought for a minute, Taran. As soon as we come back, I'm going to ask you about your rifle and about your shotgun. We'll be right back. Hey, we're back with Taran Butler, and he's in his office, and he's about to tell us about the other two weapons that he uses on his 3-gun. Taran, tell us about the shotgun and the rifle that you favor.
Well, the rifle I favor is this MSTN AR-15. It's a combination of a lot of different companies, about 4 of them. It's got a Veltor upper receiver, Veltor stock. It's got a PRI forearm, PRI compensator on the end of it, PRI gas block. It's got Trigicon optics. It's got LaRue mounts, LaRue parts, JP parts. It's kind of a Frankenstein of the best AR companies on the planet to make what I consider the best AR-15 in the world by a long shot.
Okay. So did you put it together yourself, Taran, or was that something that you ordered?
It's put together by MSTN. It's also put together by Salient Arms International. I've got a bunch of them. So once they get the good ingredients, it's a pretty easy gun to build. But I like it. It's light, it's fast, it's super accurate. It's just an amazing rifle. There's nothing like it. When you shoot it next to anybody's regular AR-15, they can't believe it's the same ammunition because it's like an airsoft gun. It just has hardly
Probably
any
some
recoil.
people would ask me at that point, well, what did he have before then?
Well, when I very first started, like in that match we talked about, I had a silly old little Bushmaster Car 15 with an A2 carry handle and a no compensator back then. And I had a good trigger job, though, by the same guy doing my trigger jobs, Fred Lindley. And it was good enough to get through and win the match, but I realized I had to build something a lot better.
Okay, well, hey, you won the match with it. So, I mean, I bet you still have it.
I do. It's in the other room. I still have that silly old gun. It's a great gun. The trigger job is still 2 pounds and it holds. So it's awesome. But then I had the choice between Remington and Benelli back then. It's kind of like it was one or the other. The Remington shot softer, but it was a much harder gun to load. The reliability of it seemed to be questionable with the smaller parts in there that would break at the worst possible time, according to people in those days. So I went with the Benelli M1 Super 90. And this is one of my original pre-bands I've had since then. It's all tricked out now by Salient. Did all the work on it, like on the show Top Shot this was on the other day. And the barrel length I chose is a 21-inch vent rib barrel with a mag tube extension a little bit past the barrel that holds 9+1. This is pretty much the hot ticket in most 3-gun competitions for the tactical division. This way I can have up to 10 rounds in the gun, and a lot's been done to it. The lift gate has been extended. It's got a really light, good trigger pull on it. The bolt carrier has been lightened and ion bonded. A lot of internal work done for reliability. These guns, you need little advantages to make sure you don't have a weird one-off jam now and then. And over the last 13 years, all this come together to create this shotgun. And really nothing beats the Benelli. I'd shoot them whether they sponsor me or not, and I did that. So,
well, that's a big compliment for Benelli, and I've had the opportunity of shooting some of theirs, and it's a great weapon.
Yeah, I've tried all this other stuff, and there's some things about them are okay, but in the end, you can't beat the Benelli for reliability, the accessory, the parts, and all of it. It's just unbeatable.
Hey, listen, we caught you out at the Pan Am last year as well, and tell us what you thought about that shoot.
That was awesome. I mean, it was 30 stages of shotgun. I didn't do a lot of buckshot and shotgun before, so I actually learned during the match that you better have this stuff called flight control because they had shots out to like 45 yards, and my Benelli has an amazing ability to keep that pattern tight. And that stage in particular brought me back into the match to be the first in the U.S. team gold. So, it was an intense match. Slugs out to 100 yards. Every kind of configuration of insane shotgun shooting, flying clay birds, steel targets, moving targets, buckshot all over the place mixed with slugs and bird shot. It was a mental melee of shotgun shooting.
Yeah, day after day after day.
yeah, I just wanted it to end finally. It was insane. No, it was a tough match. It was crazy. The weather
they came from all over the world for that, and as I recall, that was only the second time that it had taken place in the United States, and we certainly hope to see more of those in the future because I think everybody had a good time. It was a challenging shoot.
Yeah, definitely. It was. I got off to a horrific first day, but the buckshot stuff really pulled me through with the flight control because it would just be so tight and I could make these shots at 40-something yards and
other guys' shotguns, it'd be one pellet down there, so I got a good advantage on that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was good. I learned a lot from that match. It's helped me with my 3-gun shooting.
And were there other people in there that you knew, or was it basically a lot of folks you hadn't shot with?
No, there was some I haven't shot with, some European guys, some English guys. But locally, there was Kurt Miller. He's a phenomenal 3-gunner and shotgun shooter. Rob Romero is amazing. Chris Sakatano is fantastic. You know, a lot of those guys. There was a whole bunch of them. They're all really good. They all load a little different or similar to me, but we all learned a lot at that match.
Yeah, and I would think, though, that since you had so many other people from outside the country, you have the opportunity now to meet some of the people from other countries who enjoy some of the same sports that we do.
Yeah, I met the guys from Italy, met the guys from England, and watch how they load and shoot, and it's pretty cool. You know, they're really into it because they just only do shotgun. Right. Some of them aren't allowed to do 3-gun because of the laws out there, so it's all they do. And so I was pretty proud I was able to get past, a lot of those guys, just centralizing on the shotgun part of it.
When we come back, we'll have more with Taran Butler. We'll be right back. Taran, while I've got you here, though, I do want to ask you a couple of questions that I know get asked me a lot. And that is, can you pass on maybe a few tips to shooters on shooting ideas, suggestions, something that they should work on?
If they're already doing 3-gun, a lot of the mistakes I see people do is they try to hit these stages too fast and too hard. And what happens with that is you get ahead of yourself, you forget to put down the rifle, you run back to the barrel, or you're just shooting too fast and making mistakes. You just want to be smooth. You want to be accurate and smooth and make sure all your equipment works well and you know where it hits. A lot of people have shotguns that shoot slugs, have no concept of where it hits, and they get on a stage where they got to make a long shot, like at the Bakersfield match. There was some huge 80-yard shots at a little plate, and everybody's missing like crazy. So just to be smooth, to be accurate, and not get caught up in what anyone else is doing in your division or in the match. Don't try to rush or try to make up if you make a mistake. If you do make a mistake, let it go by and just try to shoot the rest of the match the best you can, because your competitor, I guarantee you, is not going to have a perfect match, and he's going to make a mistake. And you don't have to worry about that. Just be smooth and pull off as good a match as you can by aiming and being smooth the whole time.
Yeah, I actually understand that quite well, because I've attended enough of these now, and Ruger Rimfire and some of the other matches that I do enjoy, that I know if I get up there and I just try to go through that first station smoothly and not worry about time, then in the next one I'll get a little quicker, and then,
Exactly.
I'm probably never going to be a threat to Taran, but however, I know that I'm improving.
Exactly. I mean, you can't outrun a miss. You get a miss or a flying bird penalty, that's 15 seconds. So you're trying to gain a second here, a second there, but risking 10 to 15 second, 5-second penalties to gain a quarter second isn't worth it. I shoot these stages mentally at about 95% of what I could do or less, just so I can have a smooth, consistent match and not try to go crazy and end up making some horrible mistake that sets me back, a lot.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you something else that I do, too. And don't laugh. I'll be sitting in front of the television, and I've got some dummy rounds, and I will just practice feeding the shotgun. Just without looking, without really concentrating. I've got a lot of distractions around. I'll have them in my hand, and I'll just feed.
Yeah, that's awesome. I do the same thing like with the handgun. I'll sit there watching American Idol, doing reloads, shooting at Randy or something, and just do any of that stuff, just that muscle memory, getting familiar with your gun. That's good. A lot of guys, they come out to shoot here or wherever, and they haven't touched the gun since the last time I saw them. It's like, you got to dry fire. So you can't just rely on just grabbing the gun and suddenly it's just going to happen. You want the gun to be totally familiar in your hand. So what you're doing is excellent.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Taran. I do appreciate you coming on. I am going to make a point to coming out to your ranch. Maybe you can spend a couple of minutes with me and maybe tighten my game up a little bit. How about that?
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks a lot, Taran. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
All right, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Shooters, we've come to the end of our show today. I enjoyed talking with Taran, and I hope you did too. We all had an opportunity of getting to know him a little better. He's a talented shooter that continues to display his versatility with pistol, rifle, and shotgun, and his ability to compete and dominate at the top of shooting competitions. So I guess I'll go back to practicing my shell loading. I feel energized again, so when I get out to Taran's range, I'll bring you a few highlights of our training together. Remember, for the latest on your Second Amendment rights and more interviews with your favorite competitors, go to our website, ATSN TV. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again next week.